Okay, continue from the 24th question. How many questions we did in the last video? 3 questions only. Okay. So what do they decide about the description of Shaffer's coffee as a market follower? So what do they decide? Okay, what they have ultimately decide about the description of Shaffer's coffee. The information must be about Shaffer's coffee as a market follower. Okay. What do they decide about description of Shaffer's coffee as a market follower? Right, let's listen.
Now, I want to say that I think that Shaffer's is more of a follower than a leader in the coffee industry.
Okay, what he said. Shaffer's coffee is leader and market follower.
Now, I'm putting that in the section on market share.
I'm pushing that in the section of market share. So the description about Shaffer's coffee as a market follower is going to be placed in the, what's the place he mentioned?
Say that I think that Shaffer's is more of a follower than a leader in the coffee industry. Now, I'm putting that in the section on market share.
Okay, he's going to write this description in the market share. The description about this as a market follower is going to be placed in the market share. In the market share section, might be. Let's listen more clearly.
Does that seem okay?
Let's see. So you've begun by explaining what market share is. That's important.
Okay, she is indicating, okay, you have to explain market share as well, clearly.
But you've got to be careful how you give that opinion.
So you have to be careful how you give that opinion, right?
Now, I'm putting that in the section on market share. Does that seem okay?
Let's see. So you've begun by explaining what market share is. That's important. But you've got to be careful how you give that opinion.
Okay, you can explain market share, but you have to be careful about careful while explaining the opinion, your opinion.
Do you think it should go in another section?
Well, it's fine where it is, but you've got to back it up with some data, or they'll say your report lacks weight.
Okay, what she said, you have to back it up.
Do you think it should go in another section?
So he asked, do you think it should be changed from its place where it is?
Well,
She said it's fine where it is right now.
it's fine where it is, but you've got to back it up with
You have to back it up
some data.
with some data. Whatever you want to present, that must be supported with some data. Back it up with some data. Back whatever you want to present, that must be back it up with some data. Right? That's what she said. Backing something with some data means you are providing. Provide some data means providing some evidence. Examples. Numbers are examples, no? Kind of evidence and example. It's not to define. It's not. She said it's fine where it is. It's fine with the place where it is right now, and she is asking to back his stuff, whatever he wanna present, with some data. So provide some evidence is the right option. Any doubt with this?
Or they'll say your report lacks weight.
Okay.
If you won't include the necessary evidence, or if you won't back it up with some data, the report lacks the weight. Yeah.
One thing I'm worried about is finding anything original to say.
Well, since this is your first...
What is he asking? He is worried about?
Okay. One thing I'm worried about is finding anything original to say.
Finding anything original, whatever he is preparing, that must look original. Whether does it really look original or not, that's what his concern.
Well, since this is your first marketing report, you're not expected to go out and do interviews and things.
Okay, as it is your first marketing report, You won't be expected to go out and interview the people and get the data or something.
To collect your own data.
Collecting your own data, it's not necessary as it is your first report.
You're just using published data. So
you can just use published data. You are just using published data.
The analysis you do might not throw up anything that people didn't know before.
So whatever you are presenting is not at all unknown to the people before. Already published data.
But the focus is more on how you handle the data.
Okay, the focus must be more how you handle the data, whatever the published data he is using.
I mean, you might take something like a graph of sales directly from a website, but what makes your work original is...
So you can take the information from any website, but what makes your stuff original is
the perspective you provide by your interpretation of it.
Okay, how you provide your perspective with your own interpretation. Okay, the originality comes to your stuff by providing your perspective. Okay, providing your perspective by your own interpretation. By your own interpretation. How do you understand it? What do you feel about the stuff, whatever you are making use as a part of your report, right? Interpretation. Okay, so what she said, let me listen to it again.
The graph of sales directly from a website, but what makes your work original is the perspective you provide by your...
The perspective you provide by your own interpretation.
Or interpretation of it.
Interpretation of it. Okay, whatever the information you take from the websites, published data, okay, can be represented as an original one. So whatever the reader should feel it looks original is by providing your perspective, okay, along with your interpretation. Clear? So perspective you provide by your own interpretation of it. Which option is really giving such sense? Which option is giving out of 3 options? Which option is giving similar information like this? So clear analysis, yes. Clear analysis, providing your own interpretation. Clear analysis of the data considered original. Graphs and diagrams should be original, not copied. No, he is actually directly, he said, you can take it is your first interview, you are not expected to go out and take the interview and get your personal data, your unique data. No, that's not the thing. You can just take the published data, but provide the perspective in how you are looking at the data. Okay, with proper explanation. Report should contain some original data. No, it's not the thing she mentioned. It's all about how you interpret your own perspective. So is the right option. You pick the same, right? Yes. Next one. What difference between his school assignments and his report has surprised Leo? Okay, he found a difference between his school assignments and also report. Such a difference between these two surprised him. What is that? Yeah.
Oh, it's all so different from business studies assignments at school. It's really surprised me.
What?
So he said it is absolutely different from school assignments to business report like this.
Much research you have to do.
I expected that.
It's more interpretation of it.
Oh. It's all so different from business studies assignments at school. It's really surprised me.
What?
It's really surprised me.
How much research you have to do.
I expected that. It's more...
I knew interpretation of it.
Oh. It's all so different from business studies assignments at school. It's really surprised me.
What? How much research you have to do.
What surprised you? How much research you have to do?
I expected that. It's more... I knew exactly what I had to do to get a good grade at school.
Okay, I knew exactly what we have to do to get good grades at school. In case of school assignments, how do we have to do, what can bring us good grades with regard to school assignments?
And I knew I'd be expected to go more deeply into things here. But I haven't got information on how the lecturer is going to grade my work.
But what's surprising is how the lecturer is going to rate my data, rate my assignment, rate my report. On what basis he is going to rate my report? That is surprising.
A good grade at school. And I knew I'd be expected to go more deeply into things here. But I haven't got information on how the lecturer is going to grade my work.
He hasn't got any information on what basis his report is going to be assessed on.
What he's looking for.
Right? Which option is giving such sense? Okay.
You know how to do it.
Yeah. But I haven't got information on how the lecturer is going to grade my work.
How the lecturer or lecture going to grade my report, right? Grade my work. That's the report. That is his work, right? Which option is giving such sense? He is not clear how the lecturer going to grade my work. I haven't got any information. A. I haven't got any information about how the lecturer. So not knowing criteria for getting a good one. Yes, he clearly knows what to do with the assignments, school assignments, to get good grades. Being required to produce work without assistance, there is no such sense. That is not the thing he's surprised of. Great deal. Yeah, A is the right option. Is it clear? So of course, the most challenging question types in your Ielts listening is multiple choice questions, MCQs like this, because you should be able to remember large amount of data like this. Almost how many questions? 6. Are there 6 in number? 6 means almost each question contains 4 sentences along with the question. Almost 24 sentences. 24 sentences must be, remembered. Must be remembered. So when the audio starts, you should be able to recollect and answer the questions. So it's always challenging. It requires, sufficient practice. There must be practice enough to master these MCQs. Let's move on. One word only, right? Notes on specific sections of marketing report. Give a brief overview, including what's the option you have come up with for 27th? Buddy, what's the option? What's the word you have come up with for 27th? I need a noun here. All right, including something. Link each problem to dash which explains. I need another noun here. Practical solution to problem include details such as participants. I have noun here. So once again, I need noun in the 29 as well. Section is often poorly done because lack of another noun, lack of work, lack of understanding, lack of something. Right? Yeah, all are nouns. 27. What's the answer you have come up with? Overview including? You haven't written anything.
So yes, there is ideas, stars, backgrounds.
Which option could be correct? But the question asking you to write single word must be background. Link each problem to a dash which explains it. Question. You haven't written question numbers on your scratch paper. You have to write question numbers on your scratch paper, and you should have written answers beside each question number. Let's listen.
What he's looking for.
Let's see from 27th to 30.
Now listen and answer questions 27 to 30. Well, one thing you have to remember is that in a marketing report...
So she is explaining, how your report should be to get good grades, right? Yeah. Notes on specific sections of marketing report.
You've got to have what they call an executive summary at the beginning.
Executive summary.
Now listen and answer questions 27 to 30.
Executive summary.
Well, One thing you have to remember is that in a marketing report, you've got to have what they call an executive
You have to have what they call executive summary
at the beginning. I forgot that and I got marked down.
I forgot that, so she has got lesser score.
Yeah, I've drafted it. I've got an overview.
Have you got something about the background there?
He has written overview, and she is suggesting have you included background also, right? Yeah, background, right?
I've got an overview.
Have you got something about the background there?
Yeah.
Good.
So, I've just made a summary of the main points. I wasn't sure whether or not I should have my aims there.
No, that's too personal.
Aims there. He should not include aims at all. She said no, that's too personal if you include.
The executive summary is just like what a manager would read to get a general idea of your report if he was in a...
So manager, if he reads your executive summary, he gets a general idea about your project, your report.
Hurry.
Right. Then I'm okay for the first main part, all of the macro environment stuff. But it's when I get onto the problems section.
Problems section.
I've listed all the problems that Coffee Now and Shappers are facing. But then what?
Well, you have to prioritize. So
he has included the both brands problems of the both brands. He has created report on, but he is asking what next.
Take the main problems and then you analyze each...
Okay, he has to highlight, he has to prioritize the main problems and he has to describe them.
Oh, you have to prioritize. So indicate the main problems.
Indicate the main problems.
And then you analyze each one by connecting it with a theory.
Analyze each problem connecting with the theory. So link each problem to theory. Right?
And then you analyze each one by connecting it with a theory. That's where your reading comes in.
Okay.
Have you done your implementation section yet?
I've thought about it.
That's where your reading comes in, your understanding comes in.
So that's where I write about what could be done about the problems.
Yes. And it's got to be practical.
So implementation
section yet?
I've thought about it. So that's where I write about what could be done about the problems.
Yes. And it's got to be practical, so don't forget to specify things like who would be involved and the cost and the order that things would be done in.
Right.
Who would be involved? Who would be involved means participants, and the costs and the order. So you must include costs, right? That's only the word missing.
About what could be done about the problems.
Yes. And it's got to be practical, so don't forget to specify things like who would be involved and the cost and the order that things would be done in.
Right.
The order of the things that are going to be done in.
Well, that shouldn't take long.
You'd be surprised. Actually, that's the bit that tends to get badly done because people run out of time. That and the conclusion.
Oh, any hints for that?
Well...
So section is often poorly done because of the lack of time, right?
Because people run out of time.
Run out of time.
Things would be done in.
Right. Well, that shouldn't take long.
You'd be surprised. Actually, that's the bit that tends to get badly...
How can you write? You are allowed to write single word. The single word, that is time, that you can write.
Done because people run out of time. That and the conclusion.
Oh, any hints for that?
Well, It's got to draw out the main points from your report. So it's got to be quite general. You need to avoid introducing new stuff here. It's got to sum up what you've said earlier.
Okay. Thanks, Anna. That's been a big help.
That
Okay.
is the end of section 3.
That's the end
You
of
now
section
have
3.
half a minute to check your
Please check
answers.
your answers. Let's discuss section 4.